Hey guys, it's Shadows1 and I'm here to present to you guys, the 3.7 patch update for League of Legends because, their patch preview doesn't tell you everything that happened, so I'm going to. Let's just go ahead and get started. Akali. These changes are intended to give Akali's kit some utility. With Twilight Shroud now granting vision of where it's placed, Akali can perform interesting jungle and lane jukes by first casting Twilight Shroud to gain vision of enemies or jungle monsters, then using Shadow Dance as an escape tool. Overall, it should be a cool little trick that adds some depth to this ability. Twilight Shroud, as I just said, grants vision of wherever you place it. That's pretty good. So if you plant it, in an area you have no vision over because it's got, the fog of war and whatnot, you'll actually see what's there instead of just guessing. And meaning as well, you can actually use your abilities if the person's close enough, like your ultimate or, your Q, your Mark of the Assassin. So, yeah. Shadow Dance. Essence of Shadow Charge time reduced to 30 seconds, 22.5, and then 15 seconds at the last level from 35, 25, 15. So earlier levels, quicker cooldown. That's what it means. Plain and simple. Caitlyn. Caitlyn was crowding a lot of other ADC champions, or ADCs, with her potent siege capabilities and strong lane trading potential. We wanted to highlight her weaknesses to extend trades as a sniper by reducing her base attack speed. Additionally, by removing the accrual of headshot stacks when attacking turrets, it'll be a little more difficult for Caitlyn to perpetually siege towers in early game while zoning out enemies with the threat of headshot. So, just immediately right there, by the way, thank you, Riot. That was a well-needed nerf. Her base attack speed, Caitlyn, by the way, base attack speed reduced to 0.625 from 0.668. But her base attack speed increase per level has increased to 4% from 3%. So that's to compensate for the base, nerf. And headshot no longer gains stacks when attacking structures. Can't tell you how many times I got headshot by Caitlyn, who's just constantly tagging my tower, backing up, tagging the tower yet again, headshotting me, backing up, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I'm glad they did that. Cassiopeia. Twin Fang now counts as a single target spell for the sake of items like Ryla's Crystal Scepter. That's pretty good because before it was counting as AoE and wasn't giving her the full slow, so glad they finally did that. She needed an actual, legitimate other way of slowing. Diana. As a melee champion, Diana was having should have an inherent weakness to lane harass. These changes are to reduce some of the safe and effective wave clear Diana was getting from auto-attacking with her shield up in lane. These changes will help Diana in mid to late game team fights where she needs to dive into multiple enemies to engage. Before these changes, Diana's shield refreshed almost immediately and she got no benefit from the first stack unless she took damage very quickly upon initiating. Now her shield stacks upon itself. Diana gains a little more survivability in these types of engagements. Her Moonsilver Blade, which is her passive, the total damage has been nerfed at last level from 290 to 240, so an overall 40 damage nerf still has the same AP ratio. But the range of the cleave behind Diana has been reduced. It's no longer like a full 360, it's say 300, where it's, just her sides and stuff like that, so that's pretty good. Pale Cascade, which is the shield. Total damage changed to 66, 102, 138, 174 to 10 from 60, 105, 150, 195 to 40. Shield reduced to 40, 55, 70, 85, 100 plus 0.3 AP from 55, 80, 105, 130, 155 plus 0.45 AP. The second application of the shield now stacks with the first instead of replacing it, meaning she can get higher damage absorption than she could previously, regardless of them nerfing the amount it can absorb and nerfing the AP. Now that it stacks upon itself, it's a good trade-off. Elise. Removing the bonus armor and magic resist in Spider Form while increasing the ability power ratio on Skittering Frenzy will better position Elise's offensive capabilities and vulnerabilities. Elise continues to be a very strong lane bully. She will just need to think carefully about when she can win a trade. Skittering Frenzy AP ratio increased to 0.04 from 0.02. I don't think it's enough of a change, but we'll have to see. And Spider Form obviously no longer grants armor and magic resist. Plain and simple. Or bonus armor and magic resist, rather. Jarvan IV. Demacian's standard vision radius has been reduced to 700 from 850. That's pretty good. They needed to reduce that a little bit. Karma. The Inner Flame Mattress bonus, Soulfire. The slow area now spawns directly under the primary target. That's pretty good because, that's her only way of slowing, really. And obviously you don't want to just rely on one person slow. You want to have 2-3 people that can slow. But, that can make or break a team fight on if, her team can get away or can continue to engage and chase. Misfortune. Misfortune excels at trading in lanes, but her impure shots were building too quickly and dealing too much burst damage with the use of double up. With these changes, Misfortune loses some of her burst potential, but will do around the same damage in extended trades. Impure shots, the passive. Max stacks increased to 5 from 4, but the damage per stack reduced to 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 from 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So we'll have to see how that works out. I think it's going to be maybe a 30 damage nerf, give or take. We'll have to see how it all adds up. Mordekaiser, nothing big. They just, they updated his recommended items. Nami. These general usable buffs are for Nami to feel more impactful in team fights and skirmishes. In particular, with Surging Tides giving more movement speed and Aqua Prison having a longer stun duration, Nami players should feel better about playing aggressive in lane. So her basic attack missile speed increased to 1500 from 1350. Doesn't mean she attacks faster, just means the attack goes out faster. Meaning when you see the little burst that the little aqua burst that happens whenever she auto attacks, that just travels faster. Plain and simple. Surging Tides, movement increased to 40 from 30. They said they were going to do that. And the Aqua Prison stun duration increased to 1.5 seconds from 1.25. It was a needed buff. It's not a huge game changer, but it's still nice. Nunu. Nunu naturally fits in the jungle with his strong objective control and high map mobility. These changes should add more depth within that role. Above all, we wanted Consume to be a cool spell. Consume has been traditionally languished in late game for everything besides objective control. So making it an attractive spell with these changes adds more depth and rank up incentive. Consume. Damage increased to 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000 from 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. So just 100 damage buff flat out. But the healing reduced to 90, 130, 170, 210, 250 from 125, 180, 235, 290, 340. And the HP ratio, or the AP ratio has been reduced to 0.75 from 1.0. Just means you need a little more AP to get, more healing. That biggest thing. Consume now grants bonuses for 120, 150, 180, 210, and 240 seconds, obviously based upon the level of Consume, based on the type of monster Consume was used on. For Golem type monsters, grant 10% increased size and maximum health. For lizard type monsters, grants Nunu or lizard type monsters grant Nunu's attacks and spells additional magic damage equal to 1% of Nunu's maximum health. Wraith and Wolf type monsters grant 15% movement speed for 3 seconds after Nunu kills a unit. So, pretty big. It's nice. I don't know how it's going to fare because I feel that the golems are going to be eaten up before a team fight or something like that. The lizards are going to be used for farming, and the wraiths are just going to be used if you have to run away or quickly get into a team fight. But we'll have to see. Quinn. Vault. Fix a bug where Vault failed to interrupt targets that were immune to slows, such as a Master Yi who pops his ultimate and then started meditating because he was about to die. That's the easy example I can come up with. Rammus. Puncture and Taunt can no longer be used on minions. Can't tell you how many times I taunted a minion instead of a champion because they were literally on top of each other. Rumble. We did tone down some of Rumble's overall damage, but we also took this opportunity to make Danger Zone more impactful in Rumble's overall play. Here we've decided to increase his benefits for staying in the Danger Zone, so Rumble players will have more incentive to carefully manage their abilities. Flame Spitter. Damage reduced to 75, 135, 195, 255, 315, plus 1.0 AP ratio, from 90, 160, 230, 300, 370, plus 1.5 or 1.35 AP ratio. And the Danger Zone damage boost has been increased to 50% from 25% for Flame Spitter. That's pretty good. So, overall he'll be doing less damage unless he's in the Danger Zone. Then he'll be doing more. Electro Harpoon. Damage decreased to 45, 70, 95, 125, or 120, 145, plus 0.4 AP per, and then it's from 55, 85, 115, 145, 175, plus 0.5 AP. So, it's a good nerf. It was a needed nerf at that. Syndra. Scatter the Weak. Improved detection of dark spheres at longer ranges. That's pretty good because it wasn't detecting ones. Say you're right here, you're at your middle tower or something like that, and you had one that's, about just out of range of your opponents. It wasn't, or you guys were in midfield clashing right there at the river or something like that. It was not catching some of those. So glad they actually changed that. Twisted Fate. With his huge global map presence in early and mid-game, we wanted to reduce Twisted Fate's overall power without hitting core components that make him fun. We're changing the passive cooldown reduction on stacked deck to attack speed to take out some of the free power he was getting without much gameplay interaction. Additionally, given Destiny's high impact, we've brought it more in line with other global ability cooldowns. So pick a card. Blue card now restores a flat 50, 75, 100, 125, 150 mana instead of 26, 39, 52, 65, 78, plus 0.6 of your total attack damage. Stacked Deck. No longer grants cooldown reduction, but the bonus attack speed has been increased to 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30% from 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 at their respective levels. Destiny. Cooldown increased to 180, 150, 120 from 150, 135, 120. So, third level, same cooldown. Earlier levels, longer cooldown to be more in line with somebody's ultimate, like, say, Pantheon, for instance. And the tooltip for it has been updated. Udyr. Tiger Stance. Fixed a bug that caused Tiger Strike to only apply in the first 5 seconds of the stance. Pretty big bug they changed fixed right there, I'm glad. Varus. Hail of Arrows makes Varus very strong in lane trades with zoning out enemies, but the strength of this ability was crowding out the intended use of Piercing Arrow as high damage snipe. With these changes, Hail of Arrows still has its strength in area, but in area control rather, but it no longer completely trumps Piercing Arrow as a method of proccing Blighted Quiver and dealing high burst damage. So first of all, his base movement speed has been decreased to 330 from 335. Okay, not a big deal on that one. Piercing Arrow, minimum damage increased to 10, 47, 83, 120, 157 from 10, 43, 77, 110, 143. So overall, last level, it's a 14 damage buff. That's pretty good. Maximum damage increased to 15, 70, 125, 180, 235 from 15, 65, 115, 165, 215. So overall, 20 damage buff at that last level. It's pretty good. Improved hit detection at the end of the missile. Again, very good. Hail of Arrows. Damage reduced to 65, 100, 135, 170, 205 from 65, 105, 145, 185, 225. So it still does a lot of damage, just not as much. Chain of Corruption. Improved hit detection at the end of the missile. So, and that's, by the way, his ultimate. So, yeah. Warwick. These are mostly quality of life changes for Warwick, who actually spent most of the time channeling infinite duress that he spent suppressing his target. Additionally, the fact that Warwick will now always place himself in front of the target rather than in random location around them should add a little more strategic depth to who he suppresses and when. Infinite Duress. Channel time reduced to 1.5 seconds from 2.1. If the target is still suppressed for the full 1.8 seconds. Infinite Duress now always places Warwick in front of the target rather than at a random spot around the target. They, exactly what was put in here, where I'm trying to highlight, all of this big little paragraph, or small little paragraph, is what I just, re-recited. Zack. For all the utility and sustain he brings, Zack was just a little too strong across the board. These changes should tone him down in places where he had excess power, reducing the burst power of his ultimate and his already unusual high sustain from bloblets. Base health regen reduced to 7.0 from 12.5. Let's Bounce, which is his ultimate. Damage reduced to 140, 210, 280 from 160, 240, 320. Overall 40 damage nerf at the third level. Fix the bug where Let's Bounce was applying a 0.25 AP ratio on every bounce rather than 0.4 on the first, halved on subsequent bounces. So, glad that they, fixed that bug. And Tenacity reduced to 50% from 75. So that's good. You can actually kind of CC him for, half a second. Zed. As a resourceless champion, Zed was able to farm efficiently and safely without giving his opponent much opportunity for interaction. These changes should hit his wave clearing efficiency at early levels. The vision reduction of Zed's Living Shadow was just to bring it more in line with other abilities of this type. Razor Shuriken. Damage dealt to secondary targets reduced to 45, 69, 93, 117, 141 plus 0.6 AD from 60, 92, 124, 156, 188 plus 0.8 of your AD. Living Shadow. Vision radius of the shadow reduced to 700 from 1300. Okay, that was a needed nerf, not gonna lie. Shadow Slash. Cooldown increased to 4 seconds from 3. Not a huge deal in my book. Overall, I don't foresee that being a huge change, but it'll definitely, not let Zed go ahead and just farm like that all day and all night, pretty much. Zyra. Thorn Spitter and Vine Lasher plants now correctly display their bonus damage from ability power. Thorn Spitter and Vine Lasher plants now benefit from Banner of Command minion damage aura. Or Banner of Command's minion damage aura. So, they're just even better now, really. You know, they fixed a bug and then they upped their damage pretty much. Items. Mana Manipulator. Recipe changed to Fairy Charm plus 1200 or 120 gold. The total now is 300 gold. Mana Warp passive reduced to 5 mana per 5 seconds from 6. Not a huge nerf, but one nonetheless. Michael's Crucible. I probably mispronounced that, but I don't really care at this point. The Crucible is a very strong item for supports who want to stay on the back line out of harm's way. Most supports, however, opt for Philosopher's Stone early game, which makes them adverse to buying other high sustain items like Michael's Crucible. These changes also open up more diversity for supports when upgrading their Philosopher's Stone. Shrelia offers more offensive and defensive disengage, but the Crucible offers more in-fight potential. The recipe has been changed to Philosopher's Stone plus Chalice of Harmony plus 920 gold. Total gold cost is now 2,500. Grants 7 health regen per 5, up from 0. Grants 18 mana per 5 from 9. No longer grants mana. Active heal changed to heals 150 plus 10% of the target's maximum health from heals 150 plus 15% of the target's missing health. Cleanse effect has been unchanged from it. Active travel time changed to 0.2 seconds from variable within distance. Fix an issue with hit effect particle. Okay, so overall it gives you health regen, gives you twice as much mana regen. The heal sounds a lot better, but you no longer get the mana. So, it's a trade-off. Shard of True Ice. Total cost reduced to 1,600 from 1,700 gold. Mana Warp passive or reduced to 5 mana per 5 from 6 mana per 5. Not a big deal on that one. Summoner's Rift. While this change doesn't seem significant, it will help auto-attack reliant laners when trading against ability-based laners. Champions who rely on lane harassment through abilities typically don't draw minion attacks as much as auto-attack champions. This disparity was forcing a lot of champions to opt for high sustained starts in order to compensate. This change will have a larger overall effect on lane trading as the game progresses. Caster Minion's base attack damage reduced to 23 from 25. Not a big deal, but when you have 3 of them attacking you, that's 6 less damage you're taking. It adds up. I'm just saying. Howling Abyss. High winds, duration, and interval tweaked to match the pace of the music. Statue destruction algorithms tweaked to become more consistent throughout the match. Okay, it's just a visual thing, I believe. Visual and audio. Game interface. Loss of control UI. Loss of control UI now appears underneath the player's nameplate when the player's champion is affected by a crowd control effect. A unique icon is displayed for each type of effect, and a shrinking progress bar indicates time remaining on the effect. When multiple unique crowd controls are active, an additional icon is displayed for each type or each unique effect type. The icon or the progress bar represents whichever effect has the longest duration remaining. Icons are removed with their with their associated effect type becomes inactive. Indicators are visible to the infected players, that player's team, and the player who inflicted that crowd control effect. Co-op versus AI. Fixed a bug that caused co-op versus AI on Twisted Treeline to award more IP and XP than intended for games under 20 minutes. And fixed a bug that caused, the co-op versus AI games on Twisted Treeline to award less IP and experience than intended for games over 20 minutes. League system. Fixed a number of cases where icons on the league view were not showing up correctly. Alright, so just, UI fixes and whatnot. General. Custom item sets. Custom item sets can now be created and edited on the Summoner page. Saved item sets appear as an option on the recommended tab. Saved item sets appear as an option in the recommended tab of the in-game item shop. Item sets can be associated with a specific champion, multiple champions, or all champions. Item sets can be associated with a specific map, multiple maps, or all maps. Silence, Taunt, Stun, Fear, and Suppress effects have been updated with a new consistent visual. That's pretty good. Karthus' Requiem should no longer have a major FPS performance hit across all maps. I never had that problem because, I have like 200 FPS. Never had that problem. Rerolls in ARAM queue will now prefer champions not being played by a member of the other team. So you'll no longer have that mirror match of like Jace v J, a Jace on both teams and stuff like that. So that would help avoid confusion, because I've had that a couple of times. Players who fail to connect to a game will now be granted the same bonus magic resist and armor that disconnected players receive. So that's just to help, say you DC and you're reconnecting, that's just to help. The random champion option is no longer available in ranked game champion or in ranked champion select. I don't know how I skipped that, but that's perfect because that's just, I don't know how many times that happened to me. So let's see. Then fix a bug with certain AMD Radeon video cards when playing Dominion. Players now may disable moving their champion via right-clicking on the minimap in the option menu. Okay. Oh, I see. That allows you to not mess up if you click on the minimap back to your base and then click, just before your fountain. That'll help a little bit. Logitech G-Key LED and LCD technologies are now supported. Fixed. Players joining private custom games in the PvP.net client were not able to submit passwords using the Enter key. Glad they fixed that one. Adobe Air no longer uses the debug launcher and has been updated to version 3.7. This should result in increased client stability. Good. No more of those bug splots when, I get one of those critical errors. So, guys, sorry I fumbled with my words. Still getting better, crap like that. But I'm going to be having games for you guys really soon. Other than that, again, don't forget you can go ahead and send your Dota 2 or StarCraft 2 replays to sgamingtech@gmail.com. My email's right down below in the description. It's the first thing you see in the description. So if you have a StarCraft 2 replay you want to send me of you loudering or something like that, or Dota 2 of you playing Dota 2, I'll cast it. Plain and simple. But other than that, guys, my name has been Shadowswalm, and I will talk to you all next time.